Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer. Served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here with you at the Wisconsin State Fair, looking at the Milk House outside of the Expo building as people are walking in and walking around. I'm seeing women walking around with cowboy boots on and all of that, and that made me go check and see who exactly is here tonight, because normally you don't see that at Summerfest unless there's a country artist somewhere around, Charlie. Normally that's not standard fare. So I looked and reminded me that I think my 18-year-old is coming to this tonight. Have you ever heard of the artist named Jon Pardi, P-A-R-D-I?
Yes, but I don't know any music by him. I've heard of him, but no.
No, and so this was brought up to me the other day by my 18-year-old. Well, do you know who he is? No, I don't. Yeah, of course you do. You know, I'm like, what, is he older? Yeah. He's older. He's probably around your age. Yeah, he's had music out for a while. And I listened to country more in the 90s than I do now. Obviously, I don't listen to a whole bunch of radio outside of this station, if we're being honest. I know. I'm kind of crazy. But having said that, I still didn't really know who he was, but he's very, very popular. I'll tell you that much. A lot of people out here to see Jon Pardi coming up tonight at the Wisconsin State Fair. And if you're going to see Jon Pardi and you're coming out here, I'll be out here at the fan tent till 6 o'clock. I'm kind of co-hosting and hanging out with our guy Tommy Wirtz tonight from 5 to 6 with the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, getting ready for Brewers baseball as they take on who are they facing again? Who are we facing? Who are we facing, Charlie?
I don't know, Sparky.
The Cubs won, so it's not the Cubs. Man, I can't remember. Well, you'll have to find out at 5 o'clock with Tommy Wirtz from 5 until 6 coming up later this evening. It should be a lot of fun to talk with him, see what's going on with the starting lineups and all that fun stuff. Let's get to our green and gold update.
It's time for your Green and Gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan with Steve Sparky Fifer.
That's right. I am Steve Sparky Fifer, and you are there. Charlie Usen back there. It's kind of weird not having Tommy Wirtz out here with me at the Wisconsin State Fair because he's been out there the last 3 shows I've done. Brewers are playing the Braves, for those of you not remembering, like myself, just a couple of minutes ago. And Charlie did nothing to help me other than laugh my old self.
That's the fun part.
He didn't want to help me at all.
No,
just
not really.
let him struggle, and then when I get fired, I'll wonder what happened. Okay. So we have a fan on the line, I believe you said, before we get to our Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Dale in West Allis out here at the Wisconsin State Fair. What's going on, Dale?
Hey, I just wanted to say that, so how do you think the Packers are going to do good? I mean, how do you think the Packers are going to do this year? And do you think they're going to have a good record? And So I think they're gonna like maybe have a 15-0 record this year. I'm predicting the record is gonna be 15-0. But if they had a 15-0 record, that would be nice. But you think they're gonna do good this year?
All right, Dale. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. 15-0. No, I'll say I'll go with. We haven't really done predictions on this show, if we're being honest. I would probably say like 11-6. Somewhere in that area, maybe 11-6, 12-5, somewhere around there. I mean, I think this team is obviously in the playoffs, and I think this team has every chance to go to a Super Bowl this year as well. They need some things to go right, obviously, right? Need some guys to live up to their contracts, like, say, Rashawn Gary, like, say, Kenny Clark. You need some of that to go your way. You need a couple of these guys to bust out that you brought in the offseason. Isaiah Simmons maybe have a career year. Matthew Golden be as good as what I'm saying he is throughout the entire football season. That would be a huge get. Christian Watson stay healthy once he comes back in like week 6 or week 7 and put up monster numbers the second half of the year. Jordan Love actually stay healthy, right? That's what we're talking about here. That's what you want to see from this Packers team to compete for a Super Bowl. And that's hopefully what we're going to see from this Packers team going forward. All right, time to you know what? I won't do that. I'll ask the mean guy, Charlie. Charlie, how do you see this Packers team?
I see the Packers team right now as probably the best team in the NFC North. I think that they are going to win the division. I think the Lions have to take a little bit of a step back. I know they're a talented roster and they're going to fight with them a little bit, but I just think the Packers, the consistency that Matt LaFleur was talking about earlier in the show, is really going to have to show on the national stage. And I think that they are going to be able to do that. I think Jordan Love's going to get more consistent this year. I hope that the wide receiver room gets a little more consistent this year. But I think Matt LaFleur seems like he has a good plan. I'm happy with it. I'm expecting probably, I'm going to say 12-5.
12-5. Yep. That's pretty good. I'd take 12-5 if that's where the Packers.
One loss to the Bears, though. There's a Bears loss in there.
Did anybody ask you for a game-by-game breakdown in your prediction? I know I didn't ask you for a game-by-game prediction in your breakdown. What is it with all these young guys, man? What? Tell you extra details. I didn't ask for extra details. Whatever. Okay, Green and Gold Update Time brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And I want to ask a question that maybe is a little bit different than what's normally asked on Sports Talk Radio, right? So what normally gets asked during preseason games on Sports Talk Radio is, do you want to see the starters play this week against the Jets on Saturday? Do you want to see Jordan Love play? How long do you want to see Jordan Love play? How long do you want to see the starters play? Look, I'm guilty. I've done those same stupid topics for my whole career. I'm well aware of what they are and why we do. But I want to ask this question. We're going to change it a little bit. How much do you think it actually benefits the starters to actually play in the preseason at this point? I mean, Jordan Love now is 2 full seasons in as a starting quarterback. Josh Jacobs has been in the league for several years at this point. Elton Jenkins is going to a new position, but he's played this position before in his life in college, so he knows how to play the center position. Yeah, you got to worry about center snap and exchange and that type of stuff and shotgun, so maybe there's some reason for him to be out there. But so you have that. You have Zach Tom, who has been amazing at right tackle for the last couple of years. You just signed him into an extension. How much is he really going to benefit from being out there at right tackle in the preseason? How much does it really benefit some of these defensive players like Kenny Clark, like Rashawn Gary, who are vets and know what they're doing to get back out there again? That's why I asked the question. How much do you think this really benefits the starters by playing them in preseason? Obviously, if you have tickets to go to an exhibition game at Lambeau Field for the Packers, yeah, you want to see Jordan Love play. I want to see Josh Jacobs play. I want to see Xavier McKinney get an interception or Rashawn Gary get a sack. I get that point. I understand that. But if we're looking at it strictly from a team perspective, how much are they really benefiting from being out there and playing? Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Don't forget on YouTube, you can stream us live, look at all of our videos, check out our shorts. All you have to do is like, subscribe, share as well. Go on YouTube, search The Fan Milwaukee. Go on YouTube and search The Fan Milwaukee. And check out all of our local shows, including the Pack-A-Day Radio Show with Andy Herman, weekday mornings from 8 to 9. The Mason Crosby Show, the Packers' all-time leading scorer. He does a radio show every day from 9 to 11 with Mitch Thunder Nellis and then myself, C. Sparky Fifer, weekday afternoons 2 to 5 with Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. So make sure to check all that out. Plus, the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, 1 hour before every Brewers game with Tommy Wirtz. And Wisconsin Sports Weekend, Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 with Charlie Usen and Jack Pembroke. All right, Charlie, I'll let you go first. You're the former college player. I think Tommy's a little bit jealous about that because he kind of brought that up the other day.
Tommy hypes me up about it. I don't know why.
I always go to you, and I was like, well, you're our resident Cudahy guy or whatever. And then he made some comment. Oh, yeah, but then he made some comment. Did he say something like being the best athlete out at Cudahy or something crazy like that? And then our sales guy, who's older than him, who's from Cudahy, took offense to that. Like he should be considered to be the resident Cudahy guy. He was not happy. Tom was not happy at all about that. Both of them named Tom, by the way, which also is kind of funny.
Tommy race in the parking lot? See what we can do?
No, I mean there's a huge age disadvantage. No, that's not good. I mean I love both Toms, but that's all right. No, I don't think that's fair. Now, maybe a bench press competition between those two. Maybe, Wirtz would lose that bench press competition.
Whoa, Tommy is not happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to beat him in a race. I don't question that. Strength-wise, though, I don't know, man. The older time, he might beat him in a weightlifting competition.
Probably got some dad strength there, yeah.
Yeah, no question. All right, asking the question now about starters going forward here in the preseason. And this applies to anybody. This isn't just a Packer question necessarily, but how much do you think it actually benefits these guys to go out there and get playing time in a preseason game, Charlie?
I think it benefits them a ton. When we went into the NFL season last year, the first 5 weeks, the discussion between everybody across the sports media world was, why are the defenses just kicking the crap out of the offenses? What is happening across the league right now? And I think the biggest consensus that most people came to, and I know some people don't agree with this, but was that the starters weren't playing in the preseason at all. These guys aren't getting warmed up. These guys aren't seeing NFL competition right in front of them. And I would say that's probably not 100% the reason, but I do think it's important that these starters get some kind of playing time in the preseason. We talked about it with Mitch Thunder Nellis on Thunder at the Fair earlier, but he was saying, isn't what we're doing at practice enough? Aren't they seeing NFL competition with their teammates? Aren't they getting at family night the atmosphere of all the fans? And no, they're not. It is closer to a regular season game than just regular practice, the family night, but it's not even a preseason game. With the preseason game, you're seeing a different team. You're seeing other players. You're getting a different kind of atmosphere than just 60,000 of your own fans cheering at you. You're going to get a mix. You're going to get something a little bit different. You're going to get different play calls. I think all of this is different, and for you to get acclimated earlier before the season is extremely important. So, yeah, I think starters should play in the preseason. Maybe not as much as some people think with, like, full 3 games, but I said it earlier. I think the starters, I would like if they started a whole half of at least one of these games.
A whole half?
A whole half.
You're playing them for the first and second quarter in a preseason game? Yeah. See, I mean, look, I agree with you, and I'm one of those people that for the last 20 years on this radio station have been lobbying every coach that's been in Green Bay to play these starters more in the preseason, because I do think there is a huge benefit from a chemistry perspective. We always talk about an offensive line, and you and I have talked about this, right? It's a synchronized dance. That's what being on the offensive line is. Well, you don't get to be great unless you're repping that and practicing that. And seeing the same defense in training camp practice, your own defense, okay, well, that's one thing. But it's another thing to kind of try to be prepared. Now, these defenses aren't going to change things up. They're going to be vanilla defenses that you're going to face in the preseason. I'm not stupid. I know that. But it's still getting the reps to get that in. And if Elton Jenkins is going to center and you have a legitimate battle at left tackle, which we'll see, Jordan Morgan versus Rasheed Walker. You have a brand new lineman in Aaron Banks coming over from the Niners at left guard. I think there definitely is something to trying to get these guys as many reps as possible, especially with Jenkins moving to the center position.
Especially with Jenkins moving to that center position. That's the most important position on an offensive line outside of maybe a left tackle when it comes to actual football play, but that's the guy running the offense. It's the quarterback and the center. The center does everything up front. He tells the other offensive linemen, the tight ends that may be on the ball, what to do every single time. And the quarterback focuses on the running backs and the wide receivers. So Elton Jenkins, it helps that he's been a leader of this team for a while now, and it helps that he has played center in the past. But at the same time, it's still important that he goes out there and gels with these players. You know what? Maybe Zach Tom's a little hard of hearing in his left ear, so you need to learn how to yell a little bit louder at that center position, especially when a real defense is in front of you making calls and not letting you make your calls like they do in practice.
And that's the other thing, too, right? He didn't have to make calls at guard. So, I mean, while he's
at least
played
not
this
to the whole offensive line, maybe to the left tackle sometimes, but no, not to the whole offensive line.
Right, but then there's also the idea of Jordan Love and him being on the same page, too. When they're checking out of something and doing something different, them being on the same page and synchronizing up of who is the most important player to keep an eye on right now, or where that blitz they both think is coming from when they're making that call at the line of scrimmage. And that's why, again, I say time and time again, it is so critical. And it drives me nuts with this Packers team over the course of time where they get to the line of scrimmage and there's like 9 seconds. It's like, okay, we got to go. Versus getting to the line of scrimmage and there's 14 or 15 seconds. And you can be like, Sparky, that's only 4 or 5 seconds. What's the difference? It's a huge difference for a quarterback getting to the line of scrimmage to get, what his tells are on the defense and read the defense and make his calls and adjustments. And same with the center doing the same thing on the offensive line. It's very, very crucial, I think, to get to the line of scrimmage earlier than they have been in years past.
It's 11 guys all trying to communicate with each other. And then you go from 11 guys trying to communicate each other to split that in half, and now you have to communicate the same communications to everybody else right next to you in the span of 4 to 5 seconds.
Right.
That's extremely hard. Not every team can do that. There's a lot of college teams that don't even bother with that. They just have systems ready for the players to run into and go to. At the NFL level, you can't do that because you're going to get outcoached by the defense. The defensive coordinator is going to figure out those systems, and he's going to figure it out and give you different looks that you haven't seen before, and then you're screwed. You need that extra time in order to make sure everybody is on the same page. 11 guys is a lot more than 5 guys in basketball in order to get on the same page.
Yeah, I agree with you on that as well. There was a move made by the Green Bay Packers today as we do our Green and Gold update. Brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We do it every day at 4 o'clock here on Wisconsin Sports Daily here on the Fan, weekday afternoons 2 to 5. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer with you out here at the Wisconsin State Fair. The Green Bay Packers signed another wide receiver, Isaiah Nair, which is fine. But the big deal here is Travis Glover, the tackle, gets put on injured reserve by Green Bay, and that is one of their depth pieces, Charlie, that they lose here.
It's definitely a little frustrating, but at the same time, this is, I guess, the best time in the season to see those kinds of injuries and get them out of the way, hopefully, so that when it does get to the regular season, you can get those guys in when big injuries happen. The only problem is now you don't get to see him for a preseason just in case you wanted to see if he could stay on the roster or not in the future.
Coming up next, after a quick timeout, we will get to our Hard Knocks review. Episode 1 of Hard Knocks was last night. We review Hard Knocks every Wednesday at 4:20. So we'll get to that straight ahead. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And speaking of Wendy's, the meal of misfortune, devised by Wednesday Adams, is available now at Wendy's, where you must surrender to your fate. It comes with Reston 10-piece nuggets, small, cursed, crispy fries, and a small Raven's Blood Frosty. And, of course, 2 of 4 mysterious dips of dread to up the torment. In Wednesday's words, it's pure torture and tribute to the suffering that awaits us all. From the dips of dread, and the best part is you never know which you'll get. Each uniquely insufferable in its own torturous way. It's got to be Wendy's. Watch Wednesday Season 2 only on Netflix. Available for a limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's while supplies last. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Time now for your fan weather forecast, brought to you by Utke Heating and Cooling. Right now, 83 degrees, partly cloudy skies here at the Wisconsin State Fair. Uh-oh. So the last time we did this, there was no air quality alert. You remember that, the good times earlier in the show?
I do remember that, yeah.
Well, there's an air quality alert now. That lasted all of like an hour or two. Air quality alert now in effect again until 11 o'clock tonight. We went like 2 hours without this. Air quality alert in effect until 11 o'clock tonight. Low tonight of 67. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. Out here at the Wisconsin State Fair. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Usen back at the studio. Just had a gentleman come up here, lives here in West Allis, talking about Chicago Charlie. And you know any idea who the heck that is, Chicago Charlie?
I think he's a pretty cool guy, pretty handsome, too.
Pretty cool, pretty handsome.
Yeah.
He's talking about a guy. I'm telling you, Charlie, you're more popular than I am out here. People keep wanting to know who you are, what you look like, the whole deal. The dude came out here, he was like, man, I listened to you back in the day, Brewers post-game show, and blah, 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 whatever. Man, he listens to you and Jack on Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 on Wisconsin Sports Weekend, too.
What can I say? I'm an enigma. They know you are, Sparky. They don't understand me yet.
They're never going to understand you, dog. I mean, let's not get your hopes up. Okay, let's talk about Hard Knocks, because we're going to do this Hard Knocks recap on Wednesdays at 4:20, because that was episode 1 last night. Now, I don't think this is going to come anywhere close to topping the Giants' offseason one last year. That was really good. The Bears one was pretty decent as well. Hey, hold on one second. Get him a shirt. This is the thing. When I tuned in last night to watch Hard Knocks to see what was going on, I knew Josh Allen was going to be a central figure. After episode 1, it appears Josh Allen is going to be the main and lone figure in Hard Knocks without question.
I think
Did Charlie leave me? Oh,
I think when I look at this Hard Knocks so far, first of all, this first episode was about as boring as I expected it to be. When you're a good team, like, there's nothing exciting about the offseason. I said this yesterday. You have the same 30 guys that are all fighting for that roster spot, and same 30 guys that are in the same roster spots that they've been fighting for the past 5 seasons. They're not really going to lose their spots unless somebody just outshines them completely. I think when you're looking at this Bills team, the most interesting person is Josh Allen, because he is the last year's MVP. That's really the only reason. I think he's an entertaining person, but if he wasn't there, there's nothing to talk about with this Bills team.
No. Did you see the episode last night?
I did.
Of that entire thing, you thought the most interesting thing was Josh Allen?
I did. I thought Josh Allen and Josh Palmer talking about their connection and what it means to build a relationship. I like the football side of things in this show and what those guys are working through.
Oh, man. The most interesting thing about that show last night was that big old offensive lineman, Deion Dawkins, getting into a car and drifting all over the place with his little children in said car while they were doing it. I am watching this, and I'm going, man, that kid's got to be like 3, maybe. And he puts a helmet on the kid. Helmet doesn't fit the kid at all. I mean, helmet's like forwards, backwards, spinning all over the place like a top. He or she, I don't remember if it was a boy or a girl, sitting right next to Deion Dawkins, and he is sliding this little car all over the place, drifting. And I'm watching this go on. First of all, if I'm the Bills watching this, I'm not too happy. I don't want my football players drifting at any time, because that seems pretty dangerous to me, because you could roll the car, whatever. I mean, it could definitely happen. He, to his credit, Dawkins was wearing a helmet, right? So I'll give him credit for that. That is a dangerous hobby to have as an NFL player when you start drifting cars, especially, I mean, the dude barely fit into the car, Charlie.
He did.
I mean, Deion Dawkins here, hold on a second. Deion Dawkins, how big is Deion Dawkins? Deion Dawkins has got to be, what, 6'5", 6'6", somewhere
6'5",
in that area?
And
I mean, he is a big
6'5",
dude.
320.
6'5", 320, in a small little car drifting all over the parking lot with his, like, 3 or 4-year-old kid sitting next to him in a car. I could not believe what I was watching.
I mean, if I'm the Buffalo Bills, this is obviously something that I think would be an issue. At the same time, this was by far one of the most polished Hard Knocks that I feel like I've seen in a while, at least the first episode so far. It feels like the Bills were very much involved in making sure that what was seen was stuff that they want to be seen.
Sure.
And I think especially when you look back at like the Giants offseason last year, where you saw Shane get kind of bullied the entire season because of dumb decisions he was making or things he was saying to Saquon Barkley. I mean, that is very different than what I witnessed in this first episode. And because of that, I think this is a hobby that Deion Dawkins has probably talked to the Bills about. This is something that they're not too worried about in this situation. Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny to watch. But I think that's basically what the Bills said about it. It was crazy and funny, and that was it. That's why it's still in the documentary and why he didn't get reprimanded for it.
Charlie, you played.
I did.
You didn't. You play college football. You didn't make millions because you're working in radio. Clearly, you're not making millions here either. So you didn't make millions or anything like that. But put yourself into the role of a general manager or an owner of a football team. Would you want to see a guy that's making millions and millions of dollars drifting in a car in the off season? Would that make you feel good? Would you be like, oh yeah, that's cool, man. Go ahead, have that. Or would you be concerned? For instance, let me just take this next step further. What hobby would make you nervous if that doesn't? About, I don't want my football player doing this in the offseason. Because some people don't want them skiing, right? Water skiing or snowboard skiing. They don't want them skiing. Don't be jumping out of planes parachuting in the offseason. There are certain things that certain owners just, it's in your contract. You cannot do it. Obviously, this is not in his contract, clearly. What would it be for you?
I think it's free climbing is what it's called, and it's just on my mind because I watched Mission Impossible 2 the other day where Tom Cruise is literally free climbing up the side of a mountain.
I'm sure he was free climbing. Yeah,
sure
he was.
But that was
his
character is free climbing.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right, very good.
I don't really want, like, any kind of, again, nothing without any equipment. Like, that's something that people do just, again, free, without any equipment. Anything that's just, again, like, deemed very unsafe. This is obviously something that I felt like was set up. It was a drift kind of event thing that he's wearing helmets for.
Yes.
He's done it before. This is something that, again, seems like he has safety precautions put into it, not just kind of him doing whatever he wants. And I also think that if I was a GM or an owner, yeah, I probably wouldn't be happy about this. But if it's not in his contract, it's not in his contract. That's what you get when you deal with millions of dollars, is you got to put stuff into contracts.
Let me see if I got this right. Mm-hmm. What you're saying is anywhere where they could die, you're against. Like, if the dude can die, if things go wrong, you're out.
No, anywhere where they're putting themselves into a place to not be safe about what they're doing, when they're making active decisions to not be safe or do something that is extremely unsafe without safety precautions put into place before that.
What about downhill skiing?
That has safety precautions put into place, and it depends
until
on where
you hit the tree.
If you're doing it in a random place with nothing around you, no people watching you, if it's not an open ski hill, then yeah, that's a problem. But if it's in a regulated ski hill, you're wearing all the equipment, you have other people around you that this is something that's happening, I think that's okay.
We're going to disagree on this one. If I'm paying some dude millions and millions of dollars, I don't want this dude out there with the potential to break a leg, ruin his knee, destroy an elbow, whatever the case may be. I don't want that person in harm's way. I'd prefer him be in bubble wrap for the entire offseason, right? And now, again, you can only get away with putting so much into a contract. I understand that. And some contracts are very detailed. Like, it's only one or two things that the owner of the football team cares about. The rest of it, whatever. But these two things, I've had players get hurt, right, earlier in my ownership or whatever, so I'm not allowing you to do it. I know you're mad, but I have my reasons, right? Otherwise, there can just be a contract, a little thing, a clause in the contract that says, anything that puts you in harm's way that causes you to get hurt at some point, we eliminate X amount of guarantee in the contract or so forth. Remember, that was the issue with Shamar Stewart and the Bengals, right? He wanted it guaranteed regardless if he got hurt doing something stupid or not. And Mike Brown and the Bengals, or the ownership group of the Bengals, was like, yeah, no, screw you. This is what we're putting in there. And because if you do something stupid, we don't want to have to pay you. That was the big beef between those two.
It was. But then, in my opinion, don't draft that guy. These are discussions. I know you can't talk about your contract.
I was going to say how much of that it actually comes up.
But there's ways to go around that. And if you really like a player and you want to discuss what your future could be like with that player, you can find ways to go around that. These are very smart people running these football teams that know how to have these conversations without getting into trouble. They know how to get around all the semantics. So if that's what they wanted to do, then they should have done that. And I think that, yes, you want these players to be as safe as possible. You want to draft the right players for your organization. Then you have to build a culture around those players and around a team in order to kind of bring in the right people that fit what you want. And if you didn't want that, then don't make that draft pick.
He's Charlie Houston, Sparky Fifer with you, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I want to talk a little bit more about Josh Allen, and I don't want this to come across the wrong way, because I could see how people are going to get mad at me because they're like, that's how I want my kid to be. But doesn't he come across as a complete square? Doesn't he just come across like there most times, not all the time, but like Jordan Love, let's use him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got some swag to him, right? There's a cool factor to him. Rodgers has a jerk factor to him, but still there is something there's a persona that kind of rolls with that dude. Favre had whatever that was that he had, but he was very relatable to the normal person. You felt like he was one of you. You might walk into the bar talking. It's one episode, but I don't see the relatability factor with this dude. He hasn't, in one episode of Hard Knocks, I'm not there. I watched this and I said, dude, he's kind of lame. Like, this is kind of a lame human being at this point watching this guy on Hard Knocks.
Which is also why I felt like this Hard Knocks felt a little weird, because I've seen what Josh Allen is like on social media. I've seen what he's like outside of this documentary. He does have a personality. He's a really goofy dude who loves messing. The Bills have one of the weirdest TikTok accounts on the face of the earth. They post just like really funny, really weird videos, and Josh Allen is the centerpiece of all of them. He's like 100% in on the gimmick every single time. He's always having fun with his teammates. And the other thing I noticed is not only like Josh Allen, but like I feel like I didn't see enough of guys like Keon Coleman, who we saw last year, all these different clips about
that guy should be in it. Yes,
how
I
much
agree.
Of a personality he is. Why are we not putting these personalities on stage? And that's part of the reason, again, why I felt like the Bills kind of seemed like they had their hands in this a lot and just making their team look as polished and as good as possible, because they're supposed to be that polished, as good as possible team in the league. It's weird that this Buffalo Bills team is on Hard Knocks. Usually it's bad teams. So they wanted to make it look like they're distinguishing themselves from other teams. That isn't the real Josh Allen we're seeing in that episode, at least from what I've seen from him.
The Keon Coleman point is a great point. He definitely should be involved in this. The other thing that was fun to watch in all of this is you're seeing them going into dorm rooms, Charlie, and having to figure out ways to put together beds so they can sleep on beds, bringing special like gel mattress covers or whatever so they're kind of comfortable being in these dorm rooms and staying there. I don't know if it works or not. You know, for so long in Wisconsin, we had what we called the Cheese League. I think that's what it was called, the Cheese League in Wisconsin, where you had the Saints in Wisconsin doing training camp, the Chiefs were here doing training camp, I want to say the Vikings were here doing training camp, the Packers were here. We had like 5 or 6 teams that were all at different colleges doing training camp, and then you would play each other in exhibition season driving around the state. I loved it. Like, that was perfect, right? But then over the course of time, everyone's like, dude, I don't want to go all the way to Wisconsin with all of our equipment and do all of this stuff. And the Chiefs were the same way. I'd rather do it closer to home. But you still do have some of these teams that like to get away. The Bears, right? You guys are still traveling. You're still not just practicing over there at Soldier Field. You still get on a bus and drive an hour or so away to a practice facility. The Colts, they go to Anderson, Indiana. They drive away from Indianapolis to go do their training camp. So I don't know the pros and the cons. I guess the pros is you take family and friends out of it and make it just be about the guys in the middle of nowhere having to entertain themselves. Maybe that's part of it. How much do you buy into it?
I think team building is a huge aspect of the preseason for most teams. In college, we didn't have the money to go travel an hour away and go practice at other places. It was just you were there before every other student, and you were on the campus practicing by yourself with nobody else around. And when you're not practicing, you're watching film with your teammates. Your coaches are setting up time for you to go hang out with your teammates. That's not really happening as much in the NFL, but I think these guys are setting up their own times to go hang out with each other. And like you said, not have those distractions from everywhere else outside the world. It's getting these guys into the right mindset. Now, the cons of that is there's a lot of guys, and I believe probably in the NFL, especially with these millionaires and bigger egos, that aren't very happy about getting isolated, and they want to have their things and their people around them and want that. So I think there's cons to that side of it as well when you can't get guys to buy in. But if you're a team like the Packers and a team like the Bills, based on what I saw, there's a good culture in there, and it feels like those guys are ready to go to work.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that as well. Take a quick time out, come back. On the other side, we'll talk about things that we missed on today's show. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbooks. Sparky, Fifer with you out here at the Wisconsin State Fair, right outside of the Expo building, looking over at the Milk House right here by this entrance. Come on out, say hi. Don't forget Potawatomi Sportsbooks, where you're going to want to hold your fantasy football draft. That's right, they're taking whole fantasy football leagues and letting them have their drafts at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The Potawatomi Sportsbook is 6,500 square feet. It's 2 levels. You have your own private elevator to go up to the second level to do your fantasy football draft. Now, this is for people that have 14-team leagues and less. What do you get? Each person gets 3 drink tickets, plus a smorgasbord of food available to everybody in the league on that second level. Private elevator access, like I said. You get the draft board, you get the stickers, you get a podium to make your picks at as well in the second level. And, of course, you have the Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen right there as well. If all the food they provide you for the price isn't good enough, you can go buy some more food on your own. And, again, homemade desserts and pastries made at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel each and every day. For more information on how to hold your fantasy football draft at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, all you have to do is go to Potawatomi.com/sportsbook, Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Things we missed. Up next. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, out here broadcasting live from the Wisconsin State Fair. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Don't forget, stream us on your Odyssey app. If you miss any of the shows, you can check out the podcast on your Odyssey app, your iHeart app, TuneIn, Spotify, Apple, you name it, we're right there for you. Or watch us on YouTube. That's right, streaming all of our shows on YouTube. Search us at The Fan Milwaukee. Again, The Fan Milwaukee on YouTube. We have shorts up there, videos, and, of course, live streaming all of our local shows. Coming up at 5 o'clock, about 15 minutes from right now, Tommy Wirtz with the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Get you ready for Brewers and Braves baseball coming up tonight. Quintana on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers. Cubs already win today, so we'll see what happens with the Brewers. Dodgers right now on top of the Cardinals, 3-2. I want to hop in a little bit more as we do things that we missed on today's show, and we always usually do this at 4:40, unless we have an interview set up or something like that. I want to talk more about this ESPN NFL collaboration that is going on. And apparently we have ESPN buying, what was it, 10%, I believe, of the NFL. Or do I have that backwards?
Yep.
I have that correct, right?
I think it's, the ESPN's buying, or no, NFL's buying 10%.
10% of ESPN, right. NFL is buying 10% of ESPN. Now, one of the very first questions I think that this leads to is, how exactly are you going to negotiate league fees and rights for games if you're getting a kickback on the revenue coming to ESPN? I mean, is CBS or Fox or anybody else going to lose a full slate of games to ESPN because the NFL is getting kickback on it? Like, again, this is an absolute disaster. And the crazy part about it is, you and I just talked about this with IndyCar because you just saw Fox buy into IndyCar. And I said, that's a huge conflict of interest. This should not be a thing. And within a week comes the story that the NFL and ESPN do a collaboration just like IndyCar and FS1. This is not good. And if I were the owners and if I were the Players Association, I would not like this deal at all, Charlie.
No, this is going to be really weird because moving forward here, I feel like we're going to take all of NFL coverage from ESPN with a grain of salt. I think it's going to be really positive towards the NFL. Kind of like how we take everything they say about the NBA and how they talk about the Lakers versus how they talk about the Bucks. You take that all with a grain of salt because you just feel like it's all being pushed towards a narrative. That's all I'm going to think the entire time I'm watching anything NFL related on ESPN.
You know, that's true too. And so many times you'll have a team that'll be a flagship for a radio station, right? So let's say you're the flagship of the Packers, or you're the flagship of the Brewers, or you're the flagship of the Bucks. And I don't know how it is nowadays, but I can tell you back in the day when you had different people running different organizations that are running it now, there was a lot of pushback if a station got too negative or were saying something out of line when they were carrying that team on their station. And you kind of had your hands tied on what you could and couldn't say if that radio station was carrying their favorite team. Now you're taking the NFL, putting them in bed with ESPN, saying they're getting a cutback on all the money that ESPN makes, the NFL is going to pocket, and then you're going to try and sell me on the fact that when you negotiate league rights for who's going to televise what games, this is going to be a fair negotiation? I mean, they're going to have to be really, really sure that this makes a lot of sense. Because if the NFL and ESPN cut a deal, and let's say they take it from Fox, so it goes completely to ESPN, and it's a sweetheart deal. All of a sudden, ESPN doesn't have to pay as much as CBS to keep their deal. They don't have to pay as much as Amazon to get the NFL. And why would that be? Well, because the NFL is throwing money at ESPN. They don't want to spend all their profit going back to their own games. They want to get the profit coming back the other way. This is a huge issue. And I don't know really, what the Players Association can do. I don't know what the NFL owners can do about it, but it's a problem. The other part about this is now you have somebody else helping to kind of run the red zone application like we talked about before. I think everybody is fearful that they're going to screw that thing up to high heaven as well. Because the one thing that made the red zone was you didn't have like commercial breaks and all this other crazy stuff going on. It was just constant. And then all of a sudden they started adding commercial breaks and people were getting mad about that. And now you're going to let ESPN have control here. You imagine the price of a spot in the NFL red zone, Charlie, of what you could charge for that? And you do not have to have, you don't have to have the NFL ticket on YouTube in order to have it.
It's not about just what they can charge. People are going to pay for it, too. That's the thing. There's going to be companies that want that type of coverage for themselves on NFL Red Zone, on ESPN, the biggest sports app on earth right now because they keep buying everybody else around them. This is just a really big deal that I don't think people are really grasping. This is going to be a huge change. Now, I'm hoping ESPN's smart and doesn't really change what NFL Red Zone is. Again, same way that I hope they don't change what Inside NBA on TNT is and was. But at the same time, it's ESPN, and if they control everything, I don't really think it matters who is watching to them. It's that they have it and that they have to go to them. That's all that matters.
The other part about this that I think needs to be talked about too is Iger came out for Disney and said that Bob Iger came out and said that they're still having conversations about who they want to partner with possibly to have bundle packages available for when this new ESPN app comes out here in a couple of weeks that they're partnered in with, right? So, like right now, ESPN is partnered in with Hulu and Disney Plus, which is great. I have it, right? And like I said before, I have it because I like the insider stories on ESPN's website. I don't use the video stuff at all. I like the Disney Plus because our kids love watching Disney Plus and the, cartoons and all that stuff. Hulu I never watch, so that's worthless, but I had no choice but to get it that way. But Iger comes out and says, hey, man, we want to be where sports fans are to make it more of a one-stop shop. Charlie, I ask you, what does this sound like to you?
Sounds like a monopoly to me.
No, this sounds like what they were proposing before that they said was scrapped, which is Venue Sports. That's a sports streaming service where ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery all essentially would be together on one. And you'd pay some astronomical price to have this one app with all of them streaming from one app. God only knows how much that'll be. And remember, they said, oh, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Iger just opened that door wide up in the last 24 hours by saying what he said. That also is going to be an issue because now, if this thing is $30 a month for ESPN, and now you're going to go to Fox and you're going to go to Warner Brothers and all that, you're going to need, $75 a month, $60 a month? And that's just for one app? Not to mention all the other apps you may want to have on your phone or your tablet, and those of you that cut the cord and don't like satellite TV like I do or don't like cable TV, you'll be paying more than us by the time you get done spending money for all these apps that you want to watch. Tommy Wirtz has popped his head into our YouTube stream over here back at the studio. So now there's three of us, the big old hunk of love over there. Tommy Wirtz, if you're watching on YouTube, the Fan Milwaukee, he's getting ready to host the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'll be co-hosting with him out here from Wisconsin State Fair from 5 to 6. Your thoughts, Tommy Wirtz?
Yeah, you guys, I don't know if you have seen this yet, but I did show Charlie already. Our good friend and coworker, colleague Andy Herman made a tweet about this. Did you see this yet, Sparky?
No.
So
when was this tweet made?
This tweet was about 6 hours, 9:51 this morning. Okay,
oh, no,
and
I missed it.
So Pop Crave, the channel, Twitter page rather, had said that Disney Plus and Hulu are launching a, quote, unified streaming app in 2026, fully integrating Hulu and Disney Plus together now, which they have that bundle package, but this will now just be one app, correct? The standalone Hulu streaming service will be discontinued. Andy Herman then, quote, tweeted this, "Can't wait until they unify all the apps into one new app called Cable." This tweet has 47,000 likes. It has 1.3 million views. Andy Herman has broke Twitter with Cable. Right?
That is amazing. Now, quote tweet that with the fan account and say, for more brilliant takes, listen weekday mornings from 8 to 9 on the Fan. Yes, do that.
But
quote tweet it with the station account.
I can't believe that we are now getting to the point where streaming services are just becoming cable all over again, where everyone's going to unify and be back together, and people are going to think that they cut the cord when realistically they're just going to be, it's a full circle moment.
Well, it's your fault. Charlie's fault. All you 20-year-olds that don't want to pay for cable or satellite, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to cut the cord, like they say, and get and all these apps. And all these fools said, cool, we're going to make more money off of you directly than what they're paying us for cable or satellite companies, right? So DirecTV pays a certain amount of money for ESPN, whatever else. I can make way more than that because these fools that think they're saving money are going to pay me to have the app. And by the end of the day, these people are going to be paying $150, $200 a month to be able to watch what they want on their apps, and they're going to be paying significantly less by having cable or satellite at this point, Charlie.
How many subscriptions do you have, Charlie?
Personally, I subscribe to two different things, Netflix and ESPN. But I use my parents' accounts for other stuff, too.
Okay. So how many do you use?
I probably use 5 of them on a weekly basis at least, maybe up to 7. Yeah.
How about you, Sparky? How many do you use?
0.
You don't watch anything on a stream?
No.
Wow.
Not one.
I mean, you're
like I said,
beast.
Disney Plus we use for the 3-year-old.
Okay.
She watches Blippi or whatever. But then, even that I don't use as much anymore. We'll use that if we're out. But on my TV, with a free TV, there's a Blippi channel on free TV that you don't pay for. So when we're at home, I just turn that on, leave the satellite box off, and she can watch Blippi while I'm doing stuff around the house.
But you also have ESPN Plus by default for the articles, you're saying?
Correct. That's the Disney Plus Hulu package with ESPN, right.
So, like, realistically, you have 3. You just don't use them.
Oh, I have more than 3, but you asked me what I watch. We have Peacock, we have Discovery Plus, we have this Disney Hulu package as well. And that's those.
So far,
so
what
those.
you're saying is now it's your fault, not our fault, because I don't.
Well, Peacock was free.
Use my apps.
We got Peacock. Right, we're stupid. I didn't say we're not stupid. Peacock was free. They just sent us an email this week saying now they're going to start charging everybody. They got grandfathered in. We discontinued that, so we're done with that. Discovery Plus, we watched. We don't watch it anymore. That we're just wasting money. That's like getting a gym membership and not going to the gym. We do that too. But it's the same type of thing, right? So that's essentially what's happening with us. Yeah, we're just burning money at this point with these dumb apps.
Now, if they do have a direct-to-consumer sports app that comes out, you're able to watch all ESPN SportsCenter coverage. You get the Red Zone packet. Like, what's the price tag for you to pay a month?
They're saying that direct-to-consumer app is, I believe, $24.99 or $27.99. It's under $30.
That seems pretty reasonable, doesn't it?
Sure, I'm not buying it, but sure, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean,
why would I buy it for? I don't. I mean, I do this for a living, but I can record what I want to watch at home off my DVR from my satellite, my DirecTV. Why? What is it going to give me that I don't have already?
So you have cable.
A satellite, yes.
You have DirecTV.
Yeah.
Okay, well that makes sense then. Yeah, then why would you buy it? Right. But if someone is not paying for cable, I mean, if I was going to watch cable television, I don't know about Charlie, but I'm going to watch sports. Like, that's about it.
Yes.
It's a great idea for someone to just do $25 a month and then you get all the sports.
Right, we got to get to the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. But, like, you both know what I watch, right?
Right.
I mean, HGTV, Magnolia Network, and Christmas movies, Hallmark or American Family, whatever.
Food Network
That's
streaming
what
service
I watch.
It's just going to hit so hard when it lands. Like,
Right, we watched Christmas movie last night again. Last night we had another Christmas movie. We watched one. Kids get all excited. Christmas movie, they all come into the living room. We watch a Christmas movie all year. We do watch Christmas movies. So again, for me, no, I'm not buying all this other stuff. And how do we watch it? We record on the DVR, a bunch of them at one time, and then we just go back and watch them when we get time. Makes sense. Yeah. I know I'm by myself on this island and nobody listening to us does what I do. I get it. I understand, but that's...
I don't think it's an island. I think you're in your own universe.
Fine.
Honestly.
Whatever. That's fine. The universe is Sparky. That's whatever. Yeah. Tommy Wirtz, he's a big hunk of love. He's coming up next from 5 to 6. The leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at the Wisconsin State Fair. Stay tuned. We'll give you the starting lineups coming up. We'll hear from Pat Murphy. We'll look down at the minors. Big things going on with the Timber Rattlers. Made Pena get promoted, played game 1 last night, and they showed up and showed out. We'll give you details on that straight ahead here on The Fan. It's been Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, here at the Wisconsin State Fair. Come say hi.